Hey everybody, welcome into the NJCAA Network. March is here. Finally time for selection shows and intense basketball tournaments. And we start with Division III women's basketball at the NJCAA level. It's going to be a really exciting tournament this year. 12 total teams, 8 district champs have punched their tickets, 4 at-large bids waiting to see their number called and see where everyone is seated for this tournament from March to 12th to the 15th in Rochester, Minnesota at the Rochester Regional Sports Center. So let's take a look at the bracket. Currently as it stands, it's the 8 and 9 seed will play the 1 seed as the 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all first round byes. 5 and 12 a matchup on the opening day. The 7 and 10 and the 6 and 11, those 4 opening round matchups to try and get to the point to play the 1, 2, 3, or 4 seed. All right, without me talking any longer, let's jump into the opening matchup. It is the 8 and the 9 seed, and the number 8 seed is our first at-large bid, Kingsborough. The first team into the tournament, the bulk of the Wave season was supported by 24 straight wins before dropping a 1-point heartbreaker in the CUNYAC Championship to Hostos, and then lost another tight win to Monroe Bronx in the Region 15 semifinals. Kingsborough will try and get back to its winning ways behind Inya Green, the third highest scorer in Division III, averaging 27.4 this season. They'll play the 9 seed, Joliet Junior College. The Wolves return to the Division III tournament for the first time since 2011. After coming so close last year but falling to Cedar Valley, Joliet got their revenge in the semifinal this year before taking down Mountain View to punch their ticket. This is a team that can get to the line better than anyone else in the country, putting up a Division III leading 597 free throws this year and making over 13 per game. Winner of this one gets the number 1 seed. It is Rochester CTC. The Yellow Jackets are primed to avenge their runner-up finish last year while returning an impressive group. Micaiah Copeland has averaged 18.4 points a game this year and shot 46% from the field, while Kara Goetzinger has averaged 14 points and 6 rebounds per game this season. Their 21-4 record included wins in the Final 8 en route to a Region 13B championship, and they look to make some noise as the top seed in their hometown. Now to the bottom left portion of the bracket, it's the 5 and 12 seed, starting with a number 5 seed and another at-large, Northland CTC. The team that lost to Rochester in that region championship is in, and rightfully so, after an impressive season. The Pioneers finished 21-5, marking the 11th time under head coach Shannon Nelson that they've gone dancing as they look to win their first championship since the 13-14 campaign. They'll play the 12 seed Montgomery County. A thrilling season for the Mustangs will continue after a district championship over RCSJ Gloucester, their first since the program relaunched in 2008. An underdog story for this small roster of 8 players who each have a role they have played perfectly to put together their 25-2 record. Winner of that 12-5 matchup gets the 4 seed, Anoka Ramsey. Make it 3 straight years and 18 times total that this D3 Goliath punches their ticket as the Golden Rams earn the number 4 seed and a first-round bye. This team can rebound with the best of them, with 5 players averaging 5 or more per game, and with 15 offensive rebounds a game. Second chance points come often on the offensive glass. They'll await the winner of that 12-5 matchup while we move to the opposite side of the bracket for the 7 and 10. The 7 seed is CC Rhode Island. The Knights are through for their 4th straight year after slicing their way past Region 21 opponents before winning by 16 in the finals. This is a dangerous 7 seed as the Knights are the top shooting team in Division III from behind the arc, averaging 35.7% as a team and shooting 48.1% total from the field. They'll battle against a tough 10 seed, Jefferson CC. The Cannoneers won 20 of their last 21 contests, behind a strong sophomore group with 4 averaging double figures. Their win over Herkimer marked back-to-back years that Jefferson will make the trip to Minnesota. Prior to that, they did not have a championship tournament appearance since 1999. Hoping to advance in this one, winner takes on the 2 seed, Hostos. For the first time since 2020, the Caymans are in, and this time they will enjoy a first-round bye. They battled through the CUNY Championship, defeating Monroe Bronx in the District Championship behind Deja White's 20 points, 6 boards, and 6 steals. An all-around player and an all-around team under head coach Dwight Shaw. Down to the final matchups in this one. The 6 and the 11 seed, starting with the 6 seed, Owens. The Express are the 6 seed after a Mid-Atlantic District Championship. They rounded out their 18-12 season with a win over Lorain County, 61-54. The 2021-22 national champion made the Final Four the following season, but are craving to get back to the top, and they're in a good spot as the 6. All right, 2 at-large seeds remain, and the first is the 11 seed Onondaga. The Lasers' season hung in the balance after a one-possession overtime loss in the Region 3 semifinal, but the committee sends them through as the 11 seed. Onondaga put together a 24-6 year with 4 players averaging double figures. Look for Brianna Weaver to make a difference in this tournament, tied for the team lead, averaging 13.1 a game while leading the squad in assists. Final team in this tournament, the 3 seed, and another at-large, Minnesota West. The reigning champs get in as an at-large after a 17-9 season, which ended 2 points short of a Region 13A championship. Legendary D3 head coach Rosalie Hainga Hostika has a number of talented freshmen on this year's squad ready to make a difference in their first trip to the tournament, as the Lady Jays look to go back-to-back for the first time since Hostos did it in the 18 and 19 championships. So let's zoom out and look at the tournament bracket. The 1 seed, Rochester, awaits the winner of the 8-9 Kingsborough and Joliet. The 5-12 will play in Northland and Montgomery County to take on Anoka Ramsey. Hostos, the 2 seed on the opposite side, will play the winner of CC Rhode Island and Jefferson. And then Minnesota West will await the winner of Owens and Onondaga, that 6 and 11 matchup. All of those games on the NJCAA Network. All right, do not go anywhere. When we come back from this quick commercial break, we will interview the head coach of the number 1 overall seed, Rochester, to talk about their overall season and what to expect in Rochester in a little over a week. Stay with us on the NJCAA Network.
Intensity fuels these champion student athletes to greatness. Zurich Insurance is proud to be the official provider of student athlete insurance for the National Junior College Athletic Association. Throughout the highs, we cheer along to their screams of victory. Throughout the lows, we support them through their tears of defeat. Zurich Insurance, helping student athletes play the sport they love.
Welcome back into the NJCAA Network as we continue our NJCAA Division III Women's Basketball Selection Show. We have the number 1 seed head coach here out of RCTC. It's Coach Jason Bondi. Coach, thanks for joining us. Congratulations on that number 1 overall seed.
Thank you for having me. We appreciate the seeding.
Well, first things first, back in the tournament after that wild runner-up finish last year, and you bring a good core of that team into this season, and it's paid off, obviously getting the number 1 seed. But what makes this team different than last year's team?
The amount of experience we have. Obviously, the other thing is right now we're healthy. Last year we were not healthy at this time, and obviously that came out. But just the players that did return have the experience from being in that game last year. So the amount of experience we have has changed. Instead of having just 3 returners, this year we actually have 6. So obviously that experience will hopefully help us along this route.
And 2 of the big names there, Micaiah Copeland and Kara Goetsinger, obviously played a big role in the championship run last year. How have they grown in the offseason and into this new campaign?
I think they just grown, not just individually, but grown as leaders. Grown as far as understanding the game a little more. Obviously, as you play more and you get older, the game just starts to slow down in your mind, and I think that has benefited both of them a ton. I think also the other players trusting and believing in their abilities and supporting them throughout the time has helped them to understand how important they are to us.
And then you've got a squad that can shoot the lights out from behind the arc. You got the most made threes of anyone in Division III women's basketball at the NJCAA level. How much is that a difference maker when you've got so much depth up and down the lineup that can shoot from three?
Well, the depth that obviously helps us throughout having to play 3 games, or 4, in this case 3 games. But I think just them working and putting in the time, and obviously if you're able to shoot the ball, and it helps you. If we got to still play defense and hold them, but it just gives you that little more confidence that, okay, maybe we're not shooting well right now, but it definitely can come on. And I think we've had some games where it wasn't there, and we've had to rely on our defense. But when they're firing on all cylinders and playing together and shots are falling, obviously that makes it a lot more enjoyable and easier to go forward.
Well, Coach Bondi, thanks for joining us. One last thing I had for you. What do you want the people to know about this Yellow Jackets basketball team?
I think any of us coaches would, when you get to this point, obviously you have to have talent to get here. But throughout the year, they just have come together, and they're driven, and they want to succeed, and they play for each other. Hopefully we bring an exciting brand of basketball that people enjoy watching, and hopefully we can continue the little run we're on and see what happens.
Well, I'm excited to see it play out, and excited to see you guys get to play in Minnesota here in a little over a week. So thank you, Coach. Congratulations on the #1 seed, and thanks again.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, stay with us here on the NJCAA Network. When we come back, we will talk with the committee chair, Justin Hoyt, about the selections in this bracket and why they were the way they were. So stay with us here on the NJCAA Network. Welcome back into our selection show for the NJCAA Division III Women's Basketball Tournament. We are here with the D3 Women's Basketball Committee Chair, Justin Hoyt. Justin, thanks for joining us, and congratulations for putting this tournament together.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
First things first, I want to talk to you about the at-large bids. The seating was pretty consistent with the last poll ranking of the year. Was there any discussion about Onondaga versus Richland for that final at-large spot?
Yeah, it really came down between those two schools. Both had great seasons. Both slipped up in their district tournaments a little bit. Onondaga lost to a tough Herkimer team. I was fortunate enough to be at that game, so I watched it. It's a great game. Onondaga had a fantastic season. They had some really good wins. They beat Jefferson, who's ranked in the top 10. They defeated CCRI. They beat a couple Division II schools, Sullivan and Monroe. And I believe they also played Owens very tough. I think they lost by 1 to them early in the season. So their body of work, we just gave them the edge over Richland because of their overall body of work. Richland had a great season. They did beat Cedar Valley a couple times. They went 1-2 against Mountain View. So I think that was really the determining factor is we rewarded Onondaga for scheduling some of those tough out of non-league games. And they've been a staple in Region 3 for the last 5 years. They're always very competitive. They do a great job over there. So that was a tough decision, but we decided to go with Onondaga.
Yeah, definitely a tough decision for sure. Everything else seemed pretty straightforward. And when you look at the top, after last year's finish, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be excited for a potential Rochester and Minnesota West rematch. But Hostos up to that #2 spot after a really strong showing in their region tournament. So what did you and the rest of the committee see out of Hostos to jump up to that 2 spot?
Yeah, they've had a great season. They've only lost 1 game to Kingsborough. They beat Kingsborough a couple times. They're very tough. They came into Region 3 and really ran through Onondaga, Jefferson, Mohawk Valley, Herkimer, Hudson Valley. So I give them credit for scheduling some of those games against Region 3, and they swept us. So as a region, so really excited to see what they're going to do. Obviously, Region 13 has been very dominant in the tournament the last few years. Last year, I think they finished 1, 2, 3, 5. They kind of beat up on each other this year, those Rochester schools. So we're thinking maybe Hostos can make some noise this year in the tournament. So we'll see what we got.
Yeah, and to that point, I think throughout all 12 teams, you got a lot of talent throughout this tournament. What excites you the most about what's to come in Rochester this year?
I think it's how deep this tournament is this year. I think it's a little bit more wide open than in previous years, in my opinion. When you have Onondaga at 11 seed, Jefferson really could make some noise. I've seen them play. They're long, really good team. Kingsborough, I know, has a couple players that are high level. You can go down the line. There's just a lot of good teams this year. The depth of this tournament should be good for this couple weekends away.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and thank you, Justin, for taking the time to talk with us today. Going to be a fun tournament in Rochester in a little over a week.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Well, that wraps up our interview with the committee chair, Justin Hoyt. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll take one more look at the bracket before we wrap up here on the NJCAA Network.
Credit Union One, the official banking partner of the National Junior College Athletic Association, offers the best of everyday banking. CU1 members gain access to competitive products like high-yield checking, dedicated financial wellness resources to help you build a strong foundation for the future, and nationwide access through 24/7 digital and mobile banking and an expansive network of 90,000 ATMs from coast to coast. Discover better banking for all at cu1.com. Federally insured by NCUA.
Welcome back in, and thanks for tuning in to our selection show for the Division III Women's Basketball National Championship. Those games March 12th to 15th. You can watch them on the NJCAA Network or in person in Rochester, Minnesota. Here's one more look at the bracket before we sign off. Again, it's the 1 seed Rochester, 2 seed Hostos, 3 seed Minnesota West, and 4 seed Anoka Ramsey. The 8 and 9 of Kingsborough and Joliet, 5 and 12 of Northland and Montgomery County. CC, Rhode Island, and Jefferson, the 7 and 10, and then Owens and Onondaga, the 6 and 11. Really excited for all of those matchups, and congratulations to all those teams that got in, whether they won their district championships or got an at-large bid. Cannot wait to see the talent in this tournament starting in a little over a week. So thanks again for tuning in. I'm Zach McKinstry, and we will catch you next time on the NJCAA Network.